Hi, I'm Don. Welcome to my channel. I'm an affiliate painter for Red Grass Games and also the head mecha and sci-fi painter for Vallejo Colors. I write painting articles for Fine Scale Modular Magazine. I also write articles for Fantasy Figures International Magazine. Lastly, if you're into Gunpla, do use my discount code for usagundamstore.com. Links down below. Today we paint this Ork boss inspired by Sergio Calvo's artwork. So I tried to copy Sergio Calvo's recent artwork of this Kommando boss, but I don't think I failed, but you could really see the difference in skill level between me and Sergio, but I had fun painting this model. As usual, we're starting with a darker color, the burnt flesh from the Nocturna set. So I think I applied around 3 to even 4 thin coats before I got this result. Now we layer a brighter color, the reddish flesh. I love this color. This is darker than rose red, I think. That's the color. And then we're building up, like painting on the raised areas of the skin, where it's similar, not too far from the burnt flesh, so we're not really jumping into contrast, and it's kind of blending naturally with the previous color. If you've been subscribed to my channel, I always mix intermediate color, so it's mixing basically of the previous color and the current color we're using so that it won't jump out like too much. So it's blending nicely as of now. Now we use Warren red. I want a reddish skin because based on Sergio's work, it looks really reddish. But then again, I just saw his new video. He has like a short video showing how he painted the skin. Apparently he painted the skin in normal skin tone, so this is not really how to paint the Sergio Calvo model, but I was just looking at his picture at Twitter when I was painting this all the time. So I'm just like trying to replicate the look in a way, not the exact strokes and stuff, but trying to replicate the look in a bit of a shortcut, because when I see pink, I see green, I mix it with the colors and try to replicate the overall look. I like Sergio's no glazing technique. It's a matter of like mixing a lot of colors and so that everything blends together really well. But it's kind of challenging for me at the start because I really love my glaze medium. So it's a bit new to me. Normally, if I paint this green over the skin, I'll be adding a bit of glaze medium. Now we're also painting a bit of shadows with Nocturna Chalice red and a bit of highlights with fairy flesh. Usually I add glaze medium, but with this one I just mix the previous paint and try to like blend the paints in terms of mixing. The fairy flesh from the Nocturna set is a really nice color. I think it's a lighter version of the usual or the standard model color light flesh. It's really nice for highlights. It won't jump out like it won't give a bad contrast to your work. It naturally blends with darker skin tones. Now we add a bit from the Nocturna set again, a bit. Now we're done with the skin. Usually I'll post this like a separate video on how to paint skin, but basically I'm just copying Sergio's work, so I did not post it as a tutorial. And besides, I don't know what I'm half doing here because I'm just again copying Sergio's artwork. So I'm just trying to replicate what I see in the photo and using various colors. With this one, we're moving on to painting the Camo Green. So I'm using uniform green because we're painting a uniform. So basically we're just doing layering and mixing of previous colors with the current color to create nice transitions between the colors. So that's a lot of colors. So anyways, this is just basic layering, but I would love to say I mean I learned like better transitions or painting with transitions of various colors when I got my wet palette, my red grass wet palette. It made painting much easier and also enjoyable. But I still use a lot of paints because you could mix paints and use less colors, but mixing the paints and using more paints creates like very nice smooth transitions. And also I just want to test all my paints, so if I mix like dark green with light green, I won't be using my intermediate green colors and the uniform green. So it's a matter of just using all these colors so that I know how they are applied and how they look once dry and all that stuff, so that when people ask me for recommendations, I know my paints. Now we're using dark sea blue. It was a recommended paint by my friend Duke at Instagram. So it's a really nice, very dark blue color. It's perfect as an undercoat for metallics or NMM. But also I used it here as the undercoat for the turquoise and the emerald. So it was used as an undercoat for all the metallics and basically all of the weapons and armory of this Ork boss. So I'm painting emerald a bit on the piston part of the claws. So the emerald is like a bluish version of turquoise. It's really nice, it's very vibrant, but it takes a while to like create a really nice vibrant finish. So we have to mix a bit of, I think I mix ice yellow eventually to create a more like vibrant looking gun or pistol later. Now we're using dark vermilion for the camo of the pistol. It was kind of a fail. I should have used flesh first as an undercoat because it was too translucent as expected from red, so I should know more. So now we're using medium flesh to bring up the color of the dark vermilion. So we're retouching with a mixture of medium flesh and dark vermilion because it was too dark earlier. Now we'll paint light green and escorpina green. These are awesome colors. We're going to create camo patterns, light camo patterns on the camo. So we're using these colors because they're very vibrant, but I had to apply like a couple of coats so that I have a full coverage of these colors. Now we use blue-green. I highly recommend this color. This is a very beautiful color. It's very opaque and brilliance or vibrancy of the color is really nice. We're using it to highlight the edges and details of the pistol. Now we use gray-green. I like it because it's gray and it's green. So the jacket is basically a dark camo, like dark camo, black camo. So we're using this gray green, and then eventually after the highlights and stuff, we're also going to use a bit of camo patterns. I'm also using it as the initial like painting for the scratches and the highlights of all the metallic parts. It's important to note that all colors dry darker. They become darker once dry, so that's important because it may seem like they're like popping out too much, but eventually when this colors dry, like this dark brown, it will darken and it will be just enough as an initial color for all the leather parts. This one I don't show this often because it's a hassle to shoot, but always rinse your brush every time you're painting. I love painting leather because layering brown is so easy. There's a yellowish brown range and the reddish brown range. They're both very easy to paint. Now we use emerald. I first used this on the Ork boss that I painted a while back. This is a very nice greenish. It's like turquoise, but it's greenish or bluish. It's different, but it's really nice. Notice we haven't done glazing yet because I'm trying to copy serious painting method, which is no glazing. So it's a matter of layering and lots of layers and like making sure that the colors are blending a bit so that it won't be like harsh to the eyes and everything looks nice and natural. Now we're using various tonal values of pale blue, gray, Again, I like it because it's pale, it's blue, and it's gray. So we are now doing NMM for the black leather boots and leather parts, and the metallic parts, or the stainless, not stainless, iron parts, I guess. So the problem here is they may look a bit the same, but I try to make sure that they're different. So meaning that the highlights of the NMM, the metallic parts, are brighter using white even. So, and the leather parts, the dark leather parts, I stopped with pale gray blue or pale blue gray, whatever the name is, so that they will look a bit different. Also, we're going to do some rust effects later so that we could differentiate the metallic parts and the black leather parts. Now we use beige brown and cork brown. These are very similar colors in terms of being yellowish brown, and we start with the darker beige brown for the leather parts, and then once we're finished with that, we're going to of course mix both and then create an intermediate color so that the blending is better and smoother, and then we use the cork brown for the highlights. Now we use Cavalry Brown, Dark Vermilion, and Sunset Red. These are awesome red colors. The Cavalry Brown most especially is very opaque, so for like hasty painters like me who would like really opaque paints, I highly recommend the Cavalry Brown. So we start with Cavalry Brown. As you can see, it's very opaque, and then eventually once we've covered it in like just one coat, I think, we paint the dark vermilion over some, like, to create volume with the red parts. And then after that, we're using squid pink because I found the sunset red a bit like translucent, so squid pink was used to create scratches and some highlights. To be honest, I'm playing it safe with this model because Sergio Calvo knows that I'm copying his artwork. So I made sure that I'm very familiar with the paints I'm using here so that I won't like create or make serious and not so nice mistakes. So these are all like, I highly recommend most of the colors here or all the colors here because I really like these paints and made sure that I'm very familiar with them so that I could produce like a decent result. Now here are the colors for our yellow parts, basically the lightning at the back of the Ork Boss, and the colors for our like rust effects. The German orange is kind of weird. It looks like flesh, but it gave a really nice effect after I laid down the transparent orange. I think you could use Scrofulous Brown as undercoat for the transparent orange, but the German brown gave it an orangey, really vibrant color, which is nice. It looks really rusty, similar to Serio's work. And now we use cold gray to finish this up. We're basically just dry brushing various grays and light grays, dark pale blue and stuff on the base. Also, to finish it up, I added a handful of Vallejo tufts. I hope you liked the video. This is not a tutorial as usual like my usual stuff, because I'm like halfway sure if I could pull it off. I'm not even sure if I pulled it off, but for some weird reason I did not use a wash here and I did not do glazing, but I do think a bit of wash will make this better. But I was copying Serio's like no glazing technique or method, and I'm happy with the result. That's it, we're done. I hope you liked the video. Do like, comment, subscribe, and consider joining the channel so that you'll be part of our Discord community. Saludos! I am Don. Welcome to my channel.